All right, welcome back to Blue by 90. I am Tanner, joined by a very special guest today, Eli Owens, Michigan tight end commit in the 2025 class. Eli, how are you doing on this fine Sunday morning?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you coming on and really kind of wanted to talk about, your recruitment, the way that you kind of ended up committing to Michigan. You were one of the first guys, I believe the second guy in the class behind Bobby Kanka, who's a local kid here in Michigan. What was it about Michigan? You had offers from Alabama, Ohio State, the home state Volunteers. What was it about Michigan that led you to commit right after that Rose Bowl win over Alabama?
See, that's the thing. I originally committed after the Purdue game, but we waited to announce it until that week of the national title, just because, I don't know. I guess they thought that I'd get more press or something.
Yeah.
But, man, Michigan really is just, it felt the most at home for me. When you walk into a building, you feel like you're at home. You have a sense of excitement for what's ahead of you there specifically. And I just, my personal play style fits into the offense better than I fit in anywhere else.
I was gonna mention this. You were number 44. There's a number 44 on Michigan's current team that is maybe the best H-back in the country. Is that something that they, is there a player comp? Is it Max Bredesen when you talk to the coaches about their plan for you? Because when I watch your film, you not only do the H-back stuff, you line up as an inline tight end. There's sometimes you're out in the slot and you're doing it all. Coming out of the flat, you're running over the middle, you're making plays on offense as well as defense. So what is that player comp from the Michigan coaching staff, and what is their plan for you?
They tell me half Max, half Colston, but I'm sure when I get up there, that'll be different. They'll have me just fit in with whichever way would be best. But yeah, right now it's like a 7, I'd probably say it's more of a 60-40 split with Max and Colston. They want me being, your typical average fullback, but also a guy who can get out into the flat or, do a couple extra things in the pass game that, a typical fullback can't do.
Yeah, man. Well, that's not a bad comp. I mean, Max Bredesen, like I mentioned, is the best H-back in the country, and Colston Loveland coming into this year should be the odds-on favorite to win the Mackey. So, with your game, I mean, again, I mentioned it. You get out there, you catch the ball, you run after the catch. What are some of the biggest strengths in your game that you think will translate to the college level?
I consider myself very versatile. I think I can do a lot of things. I feel like I can do anything that's asked of me. If you tell me to go play safety, I'll go play safety. If you tell me to go play center, I'll go play center. But I think the best part of my game is my blocking ability. I think I'm a very good blocker. I think I can block anybody that steps in front of me, and that's really what I'm gonna try to pride myself on once I get to college. And if I have to take a year to get there, it'll take a year to get there. But once I get on the field, my number one priority identity will be blocking somebody.
Man, you sound like a Michigan man already, buddy. So what was it like? You commit after Purdue, which is new to me, so that's interesting. You should commit after Purdue, and then Michigan, goes on the run with Sharon at the helm. So you already get to see your future head coach, handle a lot of that adversity, go on the road to Penn State and win, and pretty dominant from the O-line in the run game in the second half. And then they beat Ohio State, they win the Big Ten. What was that like? Kind of seeing Sharon before you even knew that he was going to be your head coach in college.
It was good. It was good. It was really good. It was cool, being able to see that even without Coach Harbaugh, we could still live up to expectations. We still delivered on what we said we would do. And I think that's important going into this year because, we already have a background. We already have the basis of what, to look for. I mean, I see everywhere that we're all projected to go 8-4, 9-3. I think I saw somewhere that said 6-6. But everybody in the building, we're still wanting national championships, and I think we have a team this year that's going to win a national championship again. Now, is this year's road a little bit harder? Yes, but it should be. You know, as teams get better every year, it should be. But, you know, I think I know the expectation is to go back and win a national championship.
Absolutely. I mean, the guys that we speak to, you know, my co-host Justin, who's not available, this is typically a 2 or 3 man show, but Justin, you know, he's in Shem a lot. And he, you know, the vibe that we've heard from not only him, but from, you know, we talked to Jake Butt, who is maybe one of the greatest tight ends in Michigan football history just the other day. And we talked to some of the guys from 247 and Rivals. And that's the consensus, is that this Michigan team is maybe a little bit being written off, and the defense is going to be outstanding once again. And then obviously with the offense, you know, trying to figure out who the quarterback's going to be. But, you know, obviously you got Colson Loveland, you got Max Bredesen, you got Donovan Edwards, you got a bunch of guys filling in at receiver. So I agree with you that this team may surprise some people. So you commit publicly on January 4th, and a few weeks later, Jim Harbaugh, it's announced that he's going to the Los Angeles Chargers. And if like 48 hours later, Sharon is the head coach. So your primary recruiter, correct me if I'm wrong, was Grant Newsome?
Yeah.
So he's the tight ends coach, and then he gets promoted to be the offensive line coach. They bring in Steve Kasula from UMass to be the tight end coach. How have you connected with Coach Kasula since he has come into the program and, you know, maybe started to take over some of the communication from Coach Newsome?
Man, Coach Kasula is my guy. Man, I love Coach. You know, he's the funniest guy, because, like, you know, like how people are funny because they just don't know no better. You know, like they're just them. He's one of those type of guys, you know, and he knows ball to such a crazy extent. Like, I don't think I've ever met anybody that knows football as much as he does. You know, and just like being engulfed in the game 24/7 and always wanting his players to do better, you know, it makes you want to play for somebody like that.
So Michigan also has another tight end commit with Andrew Oles, who's a top 100 player. How have you connected with Andrew, you know, being in the same position group, coming in, you know, in the same class? What have those conversations been like about kind of how you can complement each other on the field once you get on the field?
Dude, Andrew's my guy. I love Andrew, you know, and the way we've been discussed and like been talked to has been a lot similar to how Max and Colston are now. You know, you have Andrew that's more your, you know, your true typical Y, you know, your inline or split out, you know, receiving tight end, and then me, I'm more of your backfield fullback blocker. But I think we complement each other very well. I think we both do things incredibly differently, which makes us who we are. But at the end of the day, we still like are coming together to make one product. So I think that, you know, when we get on the field together, we'll really be able to show that off.
Yeah. So with you being one of the first guys to commit, right? I think at the time when you committed, it was Bobby Kanka and it was Carter Smith. And so you've really, just from your Twitter and just from, you know, for me reading like the 247 or whatever, like the consensus is that you were one of the leaders of the class. What goes into that? Is that your natural personality to kind of, you know, just step up and take that leadership role with the guys in the class and continuing to recruit some of the guys that are still on the board that are considering Michigan? Like, what does that kind of look like for you, kind of, you know, and do you feel that you are that way?
You know, honestly, that probably wouldn't be a question to ask me. You know,
okay.
I don't like want to consider myself, you know, a leader, because I don't think you make yourself something. I think it just kind of happens. You know, you are who you are.
Right.
And like, that's the thing. I'm going to be me. You know, whatever that is, I'm going to be me. And if that's being stupid on Twitter, I'm going to be stupid on Twitter. You know, if that's going after some recruit, I'm going to go after him as hard as I can, you know, because my mama said that if you don't do something, you got to do it all the way. So, you know, I really, you know, I take that to heart. And, you know, if I'm going to go do something, I'm going to go do it.
No, man, absolutely. Well, you know, and like I said, I don't want to assume anything, but man, it just seems like, you know, I don't know. That's how it feels from an outsider's perspective, that you are one of those guys in the class that, you know, is really out there, you know, on the trail alongside the coaches, like pushing, like, hey, let's go win a championship. Let's play together. Like, let's commit. Let's do this thing. So, you know, I wanted to kind of go back. I kind of already asked you this, but like, you know, have you been in Tennessee your whole life? Is that where you grew up your entire life?
Yeah, no, I live in Alcoa, Tennessee, which is about 12 minutes from Neyland Stadium. You know, we're one county south of Knox County, about 12 minutes. You know, I can tell you how to get there from my house. It's like 6 turns, you know.
Okay.
Grew up a Tennessee fan my whole life. And got to the recruiting process, and Michigan just ended up being a better fit for me personally. And I wish Tennessee the best. I hope they do well. You know, there's always a little part of me that's going to be a fan, but I'm a Michigan man through and through.
No, man, I love that. And really what I wanted to ask was, you come up to Michigan, maybe let's take it back to your first visit. Like, I know it sounds like you fell in love right away, but like for a kid from Tennessee, like what is that experience like, right? Because it's not that far away geographically, but culturally it's a little bit different. So what was your first thought coming to Ann Arbor, experiencing, what it's like up here in the North? A lot of people, SEC is they go the hardest. They've got the best football. They've got X, Y, and Z. But I like to think we do it pretty good up here, man. So I'd love to know just your thoughts coming up, like maybe that first game you attended on an unofficial visit, what that looked like, and what your experience was.
Man, so my first visit to Michigan was freshman year, right? I went up with my 7-on-7 team, and it was like, it's kind of like getting shot in the face or getting punched. It's just, it shocks you. And you walk through the door and you see that sign in the facility that says, "This is Michigan." And you've got all the wind balls over to and it's like, oh my God, like this is Michigan, and we're walking up to the team room, get the classic spiel. And then all of a sudden I see Coach Newsome walking out of Coach Harbaugh's office. Coach Newsome's like 7'5", right? So he calls me over and he's like, "Hey, stay by me all day." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool with me, dog." And then, practice, stay down with the tight ends, watch them. And me and Coach Newsome got to talking after practice, and that's what he offered me. And it was, it was really cool. It was surreal too, because at the time it was only my second offer. Man, now I'm reminiscing, but but no. And then my first game day visit was the Purdue game.
Okay.
That's the one thing I hadn't done in Michigan yet, was get up there for a game. So we really made that a point of emphasis last year. And I got up there and I was like, yeah, it just doesn't get better, and eventually committed. So.
Yeah, the atmosphere had to be pretty crazy, considering they're playing Purdue. But like that, that's a game I unfortunately wasn't able to go to. I had a wedding that day, but that just felt like there was a certain type of energy that everybody was just ready for. Michigan versus the world, Michigan versus everybody, like all the things that kind of came after, like that feels like that kind of kicked that off. So what was that atmosphere like? It's obviously a night game, but I like to think we get up for big games, but we're not always up for Purdue, all the time when Purdue's like 2-6 or whatever they were. So what was that atmosphere like in the big house under the lights?
It was crazy, because it was also the first game with the new LEDs. So like, I've seen all the entrances, you can see. I've seen Tennessee running through the T. I've seen Alabama running through whatever it is they run through, that big old block. I've seen LSU run. I've seen all the big entrances, and hitting that banner is something, it should be marked on every bucket list. And the whole stadium is blue, amazing blue, and everybody's cranked up and all the pom-poms are shaking. It makes you think like, I could play here. I want to play here. I need to play here. And I think that's what, kind of got me, just envisioning myself in the situation of the players. Like me being dressed out in uniform under the lights on national television, about to go play ball.
No, man, that's it's one of the best entrances in college football, man. You hear the victors, you got the M formation from the band, and they're hitting that banner. Do you have any plans to do anything cool to touch the banner? Some guys, go between the legs with an imaginary basketball, or maybe a 180. You have anything, or are you just gonna tap it?
I don't know. I feel like that's something that happens in the moment.
Yeah.
Who knows? I might do like a triple backflip over the banner. Just really to make something my own. But that's something that will happen when it happens. I might try to punch through the banner. Who knows?
It's seen some things. You know, Ohio State trampled it one year, and that's when Michigan changed from going out second to coming out of the tunnel first. So a little Michigan history. I don't know if you knew that or not, but I'm a Michigan nerd, bro. Like I love this thing. So how's your high school team looking this year, man? Are you guys looking pretty good? Like I don't know much about Tennessee high school football. I know they produce some good athletes, but how are you guys looking?
We're looking decent. You know, we're not as good as we've been in past years. But you know, we're still Alcoa. You know, my school, we're working on 10 in a row state championships in football, and we've won back-to-back in basketball too, and we also won track the last couple of years. So you know, we're a sports school, and I think if coach said it was 14 points separates us from a 78 game win streak, I think is what it is. And we only play, you know, if you make it to the state championship in Tennessee, you'll play 15 games. And we would have been 21 in a row state championships if 14 points, you know, we just came up with a way for 14 points. So
you're telling me your school has won 9 straight state championships?
Yes.
All right. That's absurd, man. You know, so when you say we might not be as good as last year, you still may go 15-0 and win the state championship. That's unbelievable, man. Not everybody gets to accomplish anything of the sort. So that is unbelievable, man. So how was your fall camp, man? Like you guys still do 2 days? I know some schools, some states don't allow it. Are you guys still out there morning, afternoon session?
No. So we start school relatively early. Like we start school in the end of July.
Okay.
So, you know, that's normally when camp kicks up. So we can't really do 2 days or really have like a super camp. But in the summer, we go from about 9 to noon, you know, about 4 days a week. We go 9 to noon. We really, you know, dive in, kick in, you know, meetings, team, field work, workout, then like actual game situation practice type deal. And that lasts from, I think, middle of May to after dead period, which is like the second week of July.
Yeah.
And then after that, you know, we kick up. We've got our first scrimmage by the end of July, and you know, week 1 is this Friday. So you know, we're really in the swing of things now, getting ready to try and make that 10-peat a reality.
No, absolutely. Well, obviously, you're going to be in season for quite a while. Do you have any plans to get up for a game this year? Or is that going to be something that's probably a little difficult with the schedule?
No, it's difficult, but I'm gonna try my best to get up there for about four of the 6, I think, 4 of the 5.
Okay. I mean, you know, we're sitting here on the 18th, 13 days from now. Michigan kicks off against Fresno State, and then the next week is the big one at home, noon Eastern, against the number 3 Texas Longhorns. Are you going to be in attendance for that one? Is that one you're trying to get up for?
Oh yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, man, if I was a recruit, man, I'd be going to all the big games. I don't blame you. That's going to be a heck of an atmosphere, and you know it's noon, but I think that the big house is going to be rocking because Ohio State games at noon, and that place is loud.
Yeah, no, I'm going to try my best to get up there for Texas, SC. My grandfather's from Southern California, so
okay.
Yeah, get up there for SC, and then Oregon and Michigan State. Those are going to be the 4 I'll try and get up there.
Yeah, those are the four biggest games. So that makes a ton of sense. And yeah, Michigan's schedule this year is pretty crazy, but you know, it makes for some good football. So one thing I wanted to ask you, this is a little bit newer of a kind of a happening. Are you excited to be in college football, whatever year, 26, 27 in your career, man? Is that something you think is pretty cool?
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember, you know, I was young, right? But I remember playing the old NCAA games. You know, my uncle beating me by 50, you know, because he was in high school at the time, or playing online and giving me the controller that wasn't turned on, thinking it was 2v2. You know, just trying to. I remember, you know, at the time I was a Tennessee fan, so you know, so I was in the middle of Tennessee's big losing streak to Alabama, turning it on freshman mode and beating Alabama by 90 with a 5-7 Tennessee team. Yeah, so it brings back a lot of good memories. And then just being in a video game is something I think every dude wants to do. You know,
yeah.
Like, how cool is it to say you're in a video game?
Yeah, no, it's tight, man. Have you played the new one since it's come out? Have you had time to do that?
Of course.
Man, it's what do you think, man? I think it's pretty fun. Michigan is, dude. You get Alex Orji out there, you got Donovan, you got Colston. I mean, they're Marlon Klein, who's going to be tight end 2 this year. Like, they got some dogs on that game, and then obviously the defense. Like, you could just run cover 2 man, and they're not really doing anything. He's got Will Johnson locking down half the field.
Oh, I don't even run cover 2 man. I run straight man with Cole Sullivan blitzing off the edge. If you don't full slide your line, it's a sack every time. And then Donovan, good Lord, Donovan will get me an 80-yard rush, and then the next play on the 1-yard line, he'll fumble. That's got to stop. Yeah, needs to fix that.
They got to fix it, man. No, well, pro tip, Bunch X Nasty has mesh traffic with Donovan slipping out. Dude, that's what Michigan ran in the Rose Bowl for Blake's first touchdown, and then Blake on 4th and 2 on their game tying drive. That play is money. So anybody playing with Michigan online, definitely use mesh traffic because it's a little OP, but it's a lot of fun to use.
No, I usually see it doesn't make any sense, but if they're in a too high shell, I'll send Donovan on some type of swing route to the backside, and it'll open up Marlon to the field side drag, and I'll hit Marlon 15, 20 yards every time.
I think I run mesh 65% of the time because I'm afraid of throwing a pick. So I'm gonna run mesh, and I'll hot route Donovan out on a swing route just like that, and we'll march down the field 15 plays. I don't care. I'll run duo in your face all day too. It's a lot of fun, man. So Eli, hey man, I really appreciate it. Really looking forward to seeing how your senior year turns out and seeing you get into Ann Arbor, man. Where can the people find you, man? Throw out your socials, whatever.
Find me on all social medias except Facebook because I forgot my password to Facebook. It should be at Eli_Owens 19 for all of them. Hit me up, drop me a follow. If you text me, there's a 90% chance I'll text you back. I just don't know when that'll be. So yeah, man, hit me up. I want to get to know the Michigan fans because I've got a lot to learn. And I'm ready to get this thing rolling, man.
No, awesome, Eli. Well, guys, go give Eli a follow. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Eli, thank you so much for your time, man. And you can follow us, Blue by 90 on all socials, Blue by 90 on Spotify, YouTube for podcasts. We appreciate you. Go Blue.